Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am here with an installment of 31 Days of Witchcraft, a tag being hosted by Heather Carter for this month of May 2020. I'll leave a link to Heather's video below where she explains all of the prompts and how the tag will work for this month. I'm sure folks have already figured this out by now and checked it out, but just in case, it's there. So today is the discussion for day 26's prompt, and day 26 prompt is the question is divination a part of your personal practice? And if so, what tool do you favor? So is divination a part of my personal practice? Yes, very much so. And what tool do you favor? You know I'm not going to pick just one. So, before I proceed to tools, which is perhaps the more interesting part of this prompt, I will just say a little bit in terms of what I'm talking about when I think about divination. So the dictionary.com definition, the first one, of divination as a noun, is the practice of attempting to foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge by occult or supernatural means. So I've talked elsewhere about how I don't think of magic as supernatural in the sense of outside of nature. So that part of that definition doesn't really apply to me. I wouldn't really say the word occult applies to me either necessarily. But I do engage in predictive reading in the context of divination, though, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, my approach to prediction is very much a kind of if-then. If I proceed on my current trajectory, here are some of the likely outcomes. If I choose option A, how might the likely outcomes be different? And if I choose option B, what might be something that I would encounter then? So I do think that prediction is very much possible in the context of divination. I think that we predict things all the time, but I don't think that our destinies are set in stone in such a way that our decision making doesn't matter, or that we don't have agency, or that we don't have personal power. And I think that it's important for me, for my personal practice, to be empowering. There's a lot about the world that is really disempowering, and so my personal practice needs to be empowering. So when I'm engaging in prediction, and I mostly divine for myself, I do a little bit for others, when asked, people, in my family and friends, but mostly for myself. And when I'm doing that, and when I'm doing that in a predictive way, it is never in a way to limit someone's agency or limit my agency, right? It's always about thinking about how my decision making does matter. Obviously, there's lots of things in the world that I, am affected by, or that all of us are affected by in very different ways, in very unequal ways, that are far beyond, any one individual's control. But nonetheless, I do think that, our decision making matters. And when I'm asking a divinatory tool about a particular decision, for example, I have to approach that prediction in a way that maintains that decision mattering, right? So prediction, yes. I really like the component of discovering hidden knowledge in that definition, because I think discovering hidden knowledge for me can be a lot of things. That can be hidden knowledge, in my unconscious, in my intuitive self, trying to draw that out, working with divinatory tools. But I also think, in terms of seeking guidance from spirit, or from the sacred, from the universe, from particular kind of elemental energies or animal energies, for example. I sometimes will use divination tools for decision making. I mentioned that. Tapping into my instinct. And I liked actually that another definition in the dictionary.com for divination was instinctive foresight. And I like that because I think that instinct is a thing that often gets kind of devalued. Like, oh, that's just like a reaction, right? It's not informed by anything. Like it's kind of a knee-jerk, And I think that instinct is really important. And I think that instinct, particularly if we take seriously things like inherited knowledge and epigenetic memory and things like this, instinct is coming from somewhere. And I think that that's absolutely something to tap into, in divination for sure. So when I'm engaging in divination, predominantly for myself, occasionally for others, but like very occasionally, what tool do I favor? Tools. What tools do I favor? Just add a little S there. Tarot, first and foremost, I would say, is the tool I've worked with the longest. I'm very much, enamored by tarot as a system of archetypes, of suits, of element, of number. I love that about tarot. And so, tarot is my go-to, I think. And in that, I like now, I would say equally, decks in the Pamela Coleman-Smith Rider-Waite kind of tradition, which is my home base and where I started, was with decks, very much influenced by that. And now also Pip decks, which includes, but is not limited to, Marseille-style decks. I also really like to work with, and I studied Pip decks and Marseille decks more specifically quite a bit the last year or two, and have come to love working with those as well. In addition to tarot, I like to work with oracle decks. I've been working with oracle decks a lot lately, actually, almost as much as tarot, even more than tarot some weeks, which is a bit unusual for me because I love the system of tarot so much. But I do love oracle decks. I love combining tarot and oracle decks together in a single reading. People will know that I love animal oracle decks especially. Though I have a little oracle deck collection, smaller than my tarot collection, but very much enjoy oracle cards. Some others that I enjoy working with, I really like this book. I've shown it a few times, Elemental Divination, a Dice Oracle by Stephen Ball. And so this is a system of divination using dice that is elementally based. So each side of a D6, with 1 pip up to 6 pips, is indicative in this system of a particular element, either fire, air, water, earth, sun, and moon. He adds in so that there are 6. Of course, if you didn't want to do that, you could just roll D4s instead of D6 if you want to. And so the system is about how these elements interact with each other, right? What is going on when a greater amount or a stronger water presence comes in where earth is already present, for example? What happens when a little bit of fire comes into a very watery situation, right? And so the book explores all of those different interactions and has this really beautifully written, I think, descriptions. And they come to be a bit intuitive after a while, but I really like reading the book as well. Another system of divination that I love is the Journey Tokens by Kelly Fitzgerald. Folks will probably have seen these, and now there's a Journey Oracle based on this token system as well, or not based on the token system. They're the same system, just one in a card form, and the card is shaped like the tokens. So they're the system of tokens that can be used as a casting system, or can be used to just pull a few out and lay them in a spread or in a line. The hexagonal shape really lends itself to many different kinds of spreads, which is cool. So those are the divination tools that I favor. I'm currently learning Lenormand. I have to say I'm finding it quite difficult. I will make a video at some point sharing my Lenormand study so far. It's kind of this year's project to learn something new is Lenormand. At times when I'm studying Lenormand, I feel like my tarot background is working against me in some ways. That probably sounds weird, but it's true. But I'm sticking with it, and I'm really having fun with the Lenormand. And the 2 other systems I'll mention that I really want to learn in terms of divination, but I haven't studied at all yet really, but really, really want to. But I'm trying to restrain myself to one thing at a time, so I'm focusing on Lenormand right now. I really, really want to learn to divine with dominoes. I got a beautiful set of dominoes for Valentine's Day this year, and I just cannot wait to, learn to work with those in that way. And I'm really interested in geomancy as well, because geomancy is another very elementally informed form of divination, as I understand it. Again, I'm like total beginner, I know very little about it. But geomancy really intrigues me because of the elemental nature of it, and elements are a big part of my practice and a big part of my divination style, with tarot, for example, as well as with, of course, these other systems that have elemental components. So divination is a big part of my personal practice, and I love divination tools. So that's my answer for day 26. I look forward to hearing other folks' answers for this question. I know a lot of folks are also going to say yes to the first part of this question, and I'm looking forward to hearing what kinds of tools other folks work with, and why they incorporate them into their practice, how they work with them, and what kind of tools they're interested in. And if you'd like to share your thoughts on divination and tools that you like to work with, and you don't have a channel and you're not doing videos, feel free to engage in the comment section. I love to have discussion with you, of course, about divination, which is really the focus of my channel, and I made my channel to talk about. So always love that conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 27. Bye.